this inscription reference, Germans from Canton and Anglo-Saxons from Kiev want about 1 million and a little more for this, and the clip is generous, guys, and 55,000 rubles, and they are yours. Incredible. Today we're going on a journey to the audio land of rock and metal, where hairy bearded men in leather listen to Metallica, Rammstein and AC/DC with enthusiasm on a deadly Klipsch acoustic system. Today our hero is reference 620. Let's see what he represents and assess his rating on the Droid scale to determine his significance in the story. America is a country of great opportunities. Even mega corporations grow out of garages or sheds there. Apple, Hewlett-Packard, Disney, Harley-Davidson, Google once came out of the garage, not to mention Amazon. Together with the botanist Bezos, who also started from the garage, he is now killing almost all small businesses. And our hero Paul Wilburn Klipsch initiated his activity precisely from the garage where he started today. Mighty and terrible pioneer of the audio industry, a former military man, the embodiment of the American dream, founded his company in 1946 and for 2 whole years manually manufactured all the components himself, and only in 1946 hired his first assistant. A highly ambitious individual with incredible productivity, intelligence and inventiveness combined. Who else has the ability to make statements such as, "My theories of sound relativity and sound reproduction will only be proven wrong if the laws of physics are altered"? Genius or mad? Serious statement, isn't it, pals? On the other hand, he had complete rights to it. After all these achievements in the field of creating unique acoustic systems and scientific research, in 1997 PVK was included in the Hall of Fame of Engineering and Science, standing in line with such names as Thomas Edison, George Washington Carver and the Wright brothers. Personally, in my opinion, it is absolutely fair because he has more than 23 patents to his name, and the most interesting thing is that in 2000 his last article was published worldwide, despite the fact that he was 96 years old at the time, and unfortunately he passed away 2 years later. We go back to heroes. Klipsch RF620. What do we have here? Design. Horn high frequency speaker, which for more than 70 years essentially has not undergone any changes. Do you know why? Yes, because the horn is extremely efficient and amplifiers used to be less powerful. And to pump the columns, it is easier to use horn execution because they have a high efficiency. Now we have amplifiers that can deliver 300, 600 and more kilowatts of power, and it's not a problem for them. Make a high frequency speaker, for example, from diamond, as Bowers Amp Wilkins does, or from beryllium, like Focal. The sensitivity of our heroes is an astonishing 96 dB, a score that is exceptionally high. Virtually any amplifier will rock them. High frequency design tractic horn is highly recommended. Note that there are a total of 8 bolts here, as if the designer's engineers were afraid that when listening to Rammstein's Du Hast at high volume, this high frequency speaker would simply fly out of this column. Even on a mid-low frequency speaker there are only 6 bolts. Unfortunately the bolts are not branded, as in our review of Delia Baron 1, based on LTS and Kapton technologies. Liner travel suspension is the name of an aluminum tweeter that is designed to minimize distortion, allowing you to experience clear and detailed high frequencies. Then in the suspension material of the tweeter, they use Kapton material, which improves both resolution and detail. Thus, the higher frequencies, in theory, ought to be more distinct and never sharp. But that's only in theory. Anticipating, the columns are very sharp. According to the idea, the HF fly out of the structure at 90 degrees, as if a fireman is watering a burning audiophile with a sound wave from a hose. All these American engineering refinements help reduce unwanted reverberation reflections caused by sound bouncing around the room, like your cat chasing a sunbeam. In serial chain and non-serial chain dynamics, a different technology called AMG is utilized. Deciphers as pressure cast graphite and offers the idealistic property of the driver, being exceptionally lightweight while maintaining high rigidity, which in turn provides greater dynamics. Caliber of mid-range and woofer speakers is 165 mm, and their color is clearly provocative. Such orange, he attracts attention. On the other hand, if you don't like this color, you can take these grills. By the way, we have magnetic ones, which is very good in this budget, and that is how it is set. And now prior to you is a more traditional column. Interestingly, we have black items, and when you touch them, they genuinely resemble wood. In other words, they have texture that makes you want to touch them. However, this rectangular case is very simple. Conversely, we have speakers that are affordable in price. The walls are thin, the back part is already made of a different material, and the color is also different. It is grayish, not as pleasant to the touch as the columns themselves. It is rather empty. By the way, in comparison to our Polcadio RTI A7 Heroes, they appear to be slightly denser in terms of their overall weight and presence. They were much heavier, but these are more like some rigid type, I suppose. The legs are made up of two elements. They have the appearance of TV stands. As an illustration, WLG affixes such legs to their television sets. Naturally, they are commonly referred to as serve as a good support, and the overall structure is quite strong, while there are small rubber seals positioned at the ends of these supports to provide additional protection. Minus. When I was assembling them, do you know how they are fastened? Bolts, straight into the column. There are no rings made of transitional metals or any other structural innovations. Just bolts in columns? Well, that's barbaric. If you tighten screws and apply enough force, they will simply tear off screws, thread in wood. A little life hack for those who still break this thread. What needs to be done? Take toothpicks. Insert them there. Apply a little glue and then screw in the screws. Everything should be fine. We come from behind and see the branded Phasoinverter, which by the way is also called Tractrix. Interesting engineering invention. I understand that the air from this port should also disperse in different directions, just like in the ECE in our high frequency speaker. There are only two stems. Fans of B wiring will be disappointed. On the other hand, they are of good quality. It is apparent that they produce them on their own instead of purchasing them from any company, because the labels have the identical design as the Phasoinverter port. Indy proudly. And the silhouette of the city, probably Indianapolis. Looks cool. In general, these etiquettes are nothing. We also see made in China, indicating they are made in China, but I hope at least by Chinese people from Indianapolis. Examine the front. What did I like? You see, this is a copper-colored Klipsch inscription. She truly looks cool on this grille. And even though I'm not a fan of protective grilles, it looks absolutely great and impressive. A small downside, unlike the RTI A7 we recently tested, is that the grilles are not protective at all. Thus, as you can see, finger grids are not provided for children due to safety concerns and age appropriateness. In other words, a child will easily figure it all out. On the other hand, it won't really pierce anything, because the high-frequency speaker is protected by a cone that is very difficult to break. In the ECH, the child won't pierce, more likely to prick his own finger. Android rating. I spent over 2 weeks with these columns, tested them on Hegel 390, Denon PMA 800, and I can say that in the cinema, unlike our previous heroes, RTA 7, again I compare them, slightly pricier. So, unlike regiments, these columns cannot do without a central channel in the cinema, because they cannot provide such a scene. They do not generate a wide, deep sound stage and are unable to serve as a replacement for dialogues in your audio experience. When building a home theater with Klipsch speakers, definitely install a center channel. You also need to position the rear speakers well, so that they are directed towards the field where you are sitting, because again, thanks to this horn execution, you will not experience the rear transitions, you will not feel the collisions that may be occurring behind you if you position the rear columns in a poor manner. Therefore, in the cinema it's an 8 out of 10, but thanks to the fact that the columns are very powerful and assertive, they can provide you with very good dynamic scenes. But again, there is a genre preference. The blockbuster like Midway plays out brilliantly, but the quiet place where there are very delicate scenes and at the same time sharp transitions, I did not like on these columns. Music, 7 points. Columns indicating genre preferences. Undoubtedly, they are strongly inclined towards rock. Rammstein, AC/DC, Metallica. Sounds great on Klipsch, you can just feel the sound wave, the pressure. But you know Said or George Michael, my absolute favorite, very well. Well, there is an issue, therefore I do not experience the grand stage. The voice is quite harsh in nature. There is a complete lack of delicacy in these columns. This is without a doubt still a serious, faithful, dynamic and acoustically driven system of utmost importance. Drum and bass sounds good as well, but definitely not suitable for Stravinsky, Tchaikovsky or Mozart. However, Bach also performs admirably. Here is this organ celebration, a magnificent sound wave. This is for them. Reliability 9 points, made in China but assembled well. There are no complaints except for these leg fasteners. On the other hand, you put them once and forgot about them. Enhanced high frequencies, well-made low and mid frequencies. We turned them on loudly, very loudly, the amplifier was heating up. By the way, our Hagel 390 was really hot on them. Considering that their sensitivity is 96, it was very interesting. I believe it will be challenging to break these columns, but they are still not branded items as they are not manufactured in the United States. They are followed by Paul Wilburn Klipsch, so it is rated as a 9. Design 7 points, it's a matter of taste, specifically for a serious enthusiast. In my opinion, if I were to bring these columns home, there is a possibility that they could kick me out along with them, because here are these. Not everyone enjoys dynamics. This color is definitely not suitable for all interiors. If you, of course, put on a grille, it will be better, but on the other hand, these forms are so strict, rectangular. Well, probably more classic will be suitable, but definitely not for high-tech interior. Final main indicator price quality is 8 points. I believe that columns with their own demons, but generally they are intriguing and will attract potential buyers. Firstly, they possess excellent bass. Although it is not super low, they do not go down to the depths of the Mariana Trench, but you know, the impact is very good and leaves a lasting impression. When I was sitting at a distance of 2.5 meters, 3 meters, there was such a blow to the chest, not to mention Rammstein or ICDC. From these performers, the sound wave is coming straight at me and I can feel it. This is a major plus for speakers that can deliver a sound field, powerful, that comes at you and you feel the music with your whole body. Denon 800 performed admirably, even though it is not specifically designed for fatal music. However, these speakers, which are purpose-built for this genre, delivered excellent performance with heavy music. Therefore, if you are a rocker, hairy, bearded, in leather, healthy, then this is for you. If you possess these characteristics, this is specifically tailored to cater to your preferences and needs.